Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 269. So, we continue with this arc. This episode didn't quite feel as important as maybe it was built up to be from the preview. The whole thing of the preview leading you to believe maybe the butler is involved ended up being a red herring. It was just that he was actually secretly investigating himself, and so became a suspect to Kawaki and Himawari, but actually, when they kind of catch him, it is him defending Kei from another visit from the assassin. Now, interestingly, this episode doesn't really do all that much with sort of the whole Hana assassin kind of theory, in that the most interesting part of this episode is that the episode ends with effectively the conflict is over. And it seems very kind of rushed, simple, that it all worked out too well. And that very much is the case. Because I think everyone at this point is like, yeah, Hana is definitely the assassin, but there's more to it, because there's definitely a sincerity about the whole idea that she is actually like a good teacher and people like her. So it does seem like it is a multiple personality type thing, or when she's brainwashed to be the assassin, it doesn't represent who she kind of actually is. And that looks like what the next episode is going to be about. So the fight that we got in this episode, Kawaki versus the assassin, was actually quite interesting, because it ends with the assassin dying, like blowing themselves up. And it's not like you can obviously just explain it away as like, oh, it's just a random decoy person who died. That person had like what felt like a pretty unique fire style that we've never seen before. That they were able to obviously perform without saying anything, or I guess maybe just saying it so lightly that it didn't kind of it wasn't caught by anyone or whatever. So there's a certain sense of like, are they just wasting surprisingly skilled people just to, get the scent of Hana getting anywhere near that, or what? That's a bit of a mystery in terms of like, what's going on with that? Obviously, the idea is that this is meant to wrap up the incident, because they also say that the whole Land of Bamboo thing, they caught the two people who were scheming, and that it's all but resolved, and that Kei is going to go back to her homeland, and that should be that. So I'm guessing the idea is that the security won't be as high because they think the assassin is gone. Kawaki is still going to be somewhat suspicious, and then this is where they're going to catch that it is actually Hana, the teacher, who is the one behind it all. So I think we're going to get the kind of big moments in the next episode or two, and it should work out, I think, pretty well. Like I said before, I hope they just continue with Hana. I'd be a little disappointed if we end this with just she's dead or she has to go away, so this class gets a different teacher. I'd prefer to end this in a way where she is their teacher, and it's just sort of a new, somewhat regular recurring character that we now have who is their teacher. I think that would work out a little bit better. But again, it depends what they do with her character. Now that we know that there seemingly is this whole other side to her, do we fully know the real version of this character is, I suppose, the question that you have to begin to ask. And me right now, based on somewhat minimal information, thinking that absolutely they'll just they'll keep her on as the teacher. If they go in a very different direction, I might be saying, I don't think you can do that anymore. But I think that this arc has been good enough to where I'd like to see it end keeping her in place. As for the rest of the episode, Kawaki gets taken off the mission for failing to report that he basically encountered an assassin. Now, he doesn't really say the exact reason why he does this. He basically just says, I was just late to report it. It's not that I wasn't going to. They don't accept that, of course. He's off the mission. Now, the butler figures it out, And then Kawaki all but confirms it, that the reason he didn't report the assassin is because if he did, they would have cancelled the play, and Kawaki knew that Kei really wanted to do the play. So they use this as another bit of kind of character development for Kawaki, pointing out and resolving the potential drama with Kei as well, that they didn't hit this too hard, but there was just one or two scenes relating to it. That Kei is upset because she doesn't know if her friendship with Kawaki was actually real, with anyone was real, because she was under the protection of them. But the butler, and then in the scene where kind of Kawaki admits it, she comes to realize that, oh no, like even when you were off the mission, you still tried to protect me, so it wasn't so just doing my job. He does actually care. And so I like that they resolved that without making it too much of a dramatic plot point. It had to be addressed, and they did it pretty nicely overall. So that's fine. Ultimately, they took again what was potentially this harsh situation of them taking Kawaki off the mission, and again, they let Kawaki redeem himself for this error, and he seemingly isn't going to be punished, because even though he went against the sort of like, stand down, you're off the mission, he did directly save the princess. So, that's fair enough. And it fits in line with the way the Leaf Village do typically operate with these type of things. So, the other part, actually, surprisingly fun. Actually really funny, especially at the end. The whole, as they're investigating, they go to the girl who takes all the pictures. And they're like, we need to see all your pictures. And they don't want to tell her they're doing an investigation, because she's going to report it in her like expose kind of newspaper thing. So they can't reveal that. So Eiji sort of covers for them by saying that, oh, there's a girl at the festival that I like, that I want to see, if I can find her again. And so she's kind of gets distracted by that, thinking that like, oh, Eiji has a new kind of love interest. I'm not going to get in the way of that. That's a story. So he sort of sacrifices himself to help the mission, and then immediately is like abandoned by Kawaki and Himawari. So I thought they played up him quite well. He's surprisingly confident, but he's getting like he's really taking a bit of abuse here in these episodes. But it's very funny, I think, what they're doing with him. And it just helps to show that the characters, the class here is bonding a lot more, and you're having these different groups and different interactions, and it feels like we actually know the core of this class, and it's not that we only have like our main characters and then maybe one extra. There are at least 3-4 other characters that we now know reasonably well, and why Kei potentially leaving the story to go back home is this kind of disappointing thing in a way, because she's missing all these friends. It's this kind of interesting dynamic that we have coming up. Now, there's still a lot to be resolved, I think, ultimately, because I think we have to come back to the whole, is Kei going to become the new kind of like leader of the, was it Land of Bamboo? What is the exact details with the whole, her brother maybe taking over? Because again, they seem to resolve that. But then there is the assassin thing. So is it just someone even higher up manipulating things on a higher level and actually taking out those ministers to make it seem like the conflict is over, but there's someone else in charge? I'm guessing that's the way it's actually going to play out. I have a feeling it probably has to maybe end with Kei going back to the Land of Bamboo, but that she might like make recurring appearances in some of these arcs. We'll see what way they go with it. Beyond that, I don't think there's too much else to say about the episode. I'm intrigued and excited to see them actually do some proper character work with Hana in the next episode, and see how they go about actually like resolving this. Definitely the last few episodes, there's much more of an emphasis every time you see Hana of like them framing it in a way where like, okay, there's some suspicion going on here. But yeah, I'm intrigued by a few things. The whole stuff with Hana, how they explain, like, I suppose what's going on with the assassin as well that was killed, and Is that just someone else being brainwashed, and is Hana just one of many assassins? We'll have to see. So yeah, enjoyable episode. Not the best in the arc, but nothing particularly wrong with this one. And it looks like next week is going to be quite important. So that's pretty good. A success in my mind. I know people would prefer bigger stuff to happen, but the upcoming, whenever they get back to the manga, sure, it's going to feel somewhat important because it's the manga content, but I don't think the upcoming manga content is the strongest stuff in Boruto, and we're still basically in the middle of that arc at the moment, waiting to see what happens, and so I get why they're holding off on going straight to manga for a little bit, just because they will get through that content extremely quickly if they commit to it right now. So yeah, they're my thoughts on the episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were. But other than that, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.